Welcome back to No Interruptions. I'm Kate, and today we're kind of shifting gears away from our usual sort of political, more heavy argument type videos, and we're talking today more about mental health and personal development. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So like I said, we're kind of changing gears today and talking more about mental health and personal development as opposed to our usual more heavy, perhaps more political arguments, like we talk about abortion a lot. Last week, of course, was the addiction video. So today I just kind of wanted to put a pause on things of that nature because I think we all need a little bit of a breather and a break sometimes, myself included. Stop. He's like messing with my microphone cord. Would you just chill, Axe? Jeez. This cat. So anyway, I thought it might be a fun time to talk a little bit about mental health and personal development and kind of being introspective about what makes you happy. So the first thing I want to talk about, just so we have kind of a timeline of where we're going here, is how much mental health and the way that we think about our life and our happiness has changed since the pandemic. Because of course, you know, before the pandemic, we're all kind of stuck in this very United Statesian, fast-paced environment where everyone's working all the time. If you're not working, you have to feel bad about yourself for not working. A lot of us, you know, are living paycheck to paycheck, and we're all kind of caught up in the hustle and bustle of working in an office, being a good consumer, all of those kinds of things. And the reason I say United Statesian is because, you know, maybe it's as fast-paced in other countries as well, but I can tell you that, you know, when I went to Europe after I graduated high school, way back in the day, it was such a culture shock because people were so just chill with their time, right? Everyone takes a nap at 3 p.m. in the middle of the workday every day. They just decide, you know what? It's siesta time. And they just all came to the conclusion that they're just going to shut down the entire city for an hour in the afternoon so that everybody can have a good sleep. That's just a small example. I mean, of course, vacation time is a whole different story over in Europe as well compared to over here. They're like, 2 weeks is plenty. 2 weeks off after 50 weeks of work sounds fair. Meanwhile, in Europe, they're like, oh, you're going backpacking for a month? Cool, have fun. See you when we see ya. My point is that in the United States, there's so much more pressure to not be focused on yourself and not be focused on your happiness, be focused on what you can give to society, what you're contributing. If you're not contributing anything, then you're not valuable. I'm trying really hard not to make this into another argument video about how messed up our society is. But my point is that the cultures are very different between here and Europe. And it takes a toll on our mental health. It really does. That being said, when the pandemic hit, the fact that a lot of us were forced to work from home for a really long time, within that, we had a lot more quiet time, not in the office time, to kind of be alone with our thoughts, which is a scary thing for some people, but I think it made a lot of people realize that their priorities were in the wrong spot, which I think is why a lot more people will never go back to the office, myself included. Like, working from home, it's awesome. There's no other way to say it. It's amazing. I love it. Some people really do thrive in kind of collaborative environments where they're surrounded by people in an office, you know, in person. I'm not one of those people, thank you, anxiety. But the pandemic created this environment where we realized that we had options. We realized that a lot of jobs really could be work from home, and you can still be as, if not more, productive. So the idea of work from home was something that definitely changed during the pandemic. People realized they had options, they want to do hybrid, they want to work from home all the time, even, you know, after the pandemic. But also, I think people discovered a lot about the state of their mental health. They had more time to think about themselves during the pandemic. It was quieter, right? And I can say for myself, one of the things that I discovered is that growing up, we are taught that we should be working our whole life to figure out what is the most valuable thing we can contribute to society. Yes, it's good to contribute, but that contribution does not determine your value as a person. You do not need to earn your value as a person. Now, obviously, you have to work to pay for things to live, but this whole concept of feeling like you can't say no to things, I've seen this in a lot of people who work in an office too, is, their boss asks them to work overtime. They feel like they can't say no. They feel like they constantly have to prove themselves in order to feel like they're contributing, to feel productive, to feel valuable. And that is so destructive to mental health. It's so destructive because it encourages the idea that a business or a corporation or whoever you're working for, their well-being or what they want is more important than what you need. And sometimes what you need is a break. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about a vacation. Vacations are great. I personally think that vacation time should not be limited to 2 weeks anywhere because that is a ridiculous ratio of work to time off. But I'm also talking about little breaks, right? Finding an outlet for yourself. This is something that I've noticed in my life recently, is that I don't really have an outlet anymore. I used to play sports in middle school and high school, less so in college. In college, I was really focused on school. I used to do musical theater a lot all through high school. Those were my outlets. Then, of course, I moved from school, so I wasn't near my community theater in my hometown anymore. So right now I'm kind of in search mode. So last week I decided to just sit down and make a list of things that could be an outlet for me. Creatively, physically, whatever, because regardless of the combination of things that are in your life, there's always going to be stress. And when there's stress, there's anxiety. And when there's anxiety, it needs to be released somehow. Otherwise, it just festers and it's the worst feeling ever. So, first thing, I decided to join a gym because clearly I work from home all day and that involves a lot of sitting, a lot of screen time, a lot of just stationary being. And don't get me wrong, I love working on my computer. I've got a pretty sweet setup here, but I really need to move around also. So I went for the first time yesterday, step one, right? So that's kind of the physical aspect. And then as far as a creative outlet, this is something I recommend to everyone, is finding some kind of creative outlet. For me, like I said, I used to be in musical theater, so I am in search of something that is that creative side that I can kind of utilize to be a creative outlet. It might be finding a new local community theater up where I am now. I'm not really sure yet. I'm kind of working on that. But my point here is this. With the rise of work from home, with the rise of finding out and kind of waking up and realizing that a lot of us are missing a lot of really important things in our lives that make us happy, we really need to just sit down and figure out what our outlets are. And if you're sitting and you're thinking about your life and you feel like something's missing, like you should be doing the things you love more, I think finding a physical outlet and finding a creative outlet are really going to help balance you out. At least they have for me, so I highly recommend them so far. And because we are becoming more conscious of what we need ourselves and what makes us happy, I think that's really going to boost our just quality of being, because your work shouldn't be your life. If you love your work, that's great. But I think everyone should have something personal that they turn to that really grounds them, that really rejuvenates them. Because even if you love your work, there's always going to be elements of it that are frustrating. There's going to be bad days. And on those days, you're going to have something to do to take your mind off of it, but also to just kind of give yourself time to rest in between those. Because I cannot express enough how much it's helped me so far, but also people I know, really having those separations between work and personal life, having those separations between your contribution to society and your contribution to yourself. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope you enjoyed this video, maybe got something out of it. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.
It's Naomi Wolf of Daily Clout, and I am asking you to please, if you like the video you just saw, support us, become a member, donate. You can send checks to P.O. Box 24, Millerton, New York, 12546, or go to Daily Clout, DAILYCLOUT, become a member or donate. Thank you so much for your support. Every penny goes for paying our hardworking staff, paying hosting costs, and paying our lawyers who have been leading the fight to keep you safe and free, to keep the Constitution safe and to keep you free. Thank you so much.